afternoon, Augusta. Welcome to another episode of Parent Café, brought to you by the Augusta Partnership for Children Incorporated Family Connection. Today I'll be your host, Derek Griffin, and our guest presenter will be Kimberly Walton. So I'm the co-owner and director of operations for a 501c3 nonprofit organization called Empowering Ambitions. We specialize in providing financial assistance to families and veteran and family members that have been affected by cancer. We do this oftentimes through the use of the Georgia Cancer Center located right down the street from us, who assist us with selecting those individuals most deserving of and most in need of our resources. We also have a program that we use to support veterans who are in jeopardy of becoming homeless or who are homeless. We co-collaborate with this program with the Economic Opportunity Authority, or EOA. But that's not what we're here to talk about today. Today, I have the honor and the pleasure to introduce a very young lady to you who has some very important things to talk about. Her name is Kimberly Walton, and she is the founder and CEO of GLM2 Foundation, which stands for God Loves Me Too. And I tell you, man, what an awesome name you selected. Now, GLM2 is a 501c3 nonprofit organization dedicated to eradicating the damage done to women and their children as a result of human sex trafficking and domestic violence. Now, Kimberly, I've just told the people a little bit about what you do, but what I would like you to do is, Kimberly, tell us, who are you?
Who am I? Wow, that's a great question. I would have to say that I am a general for life transformation for women and children who've been affected by sex trafficking and domestic violence. You know, Derek, I fight hard. We fight hard to help these women and children out when they've come out of short-term facilities, when they've been through these, heinous crimes against humanity. They have nothing. So we fight hard to help them find, housing, transportation, education, child care, food, everything that you and I need, they need as well, but they're starting from ground zero. So I would say I'm a general because I fight really hard for them.
Well, Kimberly, I'll tell you, I appreciate your fight, and I'm certain that there are individuals out here in this area that appreciates that fight as well. So, Kimberly, we know what you do, and you've told us about who you are. I'd like you to take a few moments to tell us about how who you are has been a driving force behind what you do. And while you're doing it, can you share any personal stories of or experiences that particularly motivated you to start GLM2?
Yeah, so when I first learned of trafficking, and it was something that I'd really never heard of before, and one of the first classes that someone was teaching about it, it was actually a lady who talked about her own story, and she was told the story of how her mother was a prostitute and started prostituting her out at the age of 3. And it devastated me. It completely devastated me. And I lost it. Like, I wept the whole time she was talking. And so as I started doing research in trafficking, I realized there was a gap. There was a gap between short-term and long-term aftercare. There was a gap between some places had places for women, some had children. There was nothing that did women and children together. And so that story just really propelled me into finding a solution to how we could actually help fill that gap and help more people.
Wow, Kimberly, another amazing story, and thank you for sharing, by the way. So, for our listeners and our viewers out there, and most importantly, parents, why is what you do important to the community? And to be more clearer, what's the true essence and the significance of what you do?
So, although GLM2, we do the long-term aftercare. So we come alongside them for a minimum of 2 years, maximum of 5, to help them rebuild their lives. But another important factor as far as parents are concerned who may not, I'm talking about regular parents who haven't been trafficked, that kind of thing, parents in the community, is that lately, well, not lately, over the past few years, it just the cyber trafficking is happening more and more and more. People will put an alarm system on their homes, but they walk in with a phone that has predators right on it. So the predators are already in your house. They're already talking to your kids. So when we can educate parents, grandparents, how to protect your kids, grandkids, nieces, nephews, uncles, whatever child it is, we want to do that because predators come after the vulnerable. Wow. Okay, and they go after children specifically, knowing that the frontal lobe is not developed. Okay, that frontal lobe isn't developed until you're 25, 26 years old, and that development contains deductive reasoning skills, and so it means, like you and I, our frontal lobes are developed, so we know that our actions today have consequences 5 years from now, 10 years from now. They don't know that because that part of their brain isn't developed yet.
Not developed.
So if someone contacts, as a child, you think you're talking to another child. You think you're gaming with someone the same age, and actually it's an adult that's a predator. And so if we can save one child from ever having to come across our path at a later date to need rehabilitation, right, and have their life restored, correct, it's worth it to us.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Wow. Phenomenal. So, Kimberly, thank you for helping us understand that importance. But I got a question for you.
Yes.
Is this really necessary in our city? And what I mean is, are these types of things actually happening right here in Augusta and within the CSRA? I know oftentimes people may say, this doesn't happen in my neighborhood or in my city. But Kimberly, does it really?
Yes. And let's start with global numbers first. Okay. So in 2024, the Global Crime Report labeled human trafficking as a $346.7 billion global industry. So that's way out here. Okay. And we can't wrap our heads around that. But let's bring it in. Let's bring it into Augusta. Okay. Right now, as of last year's statistics, Augusta is number one for human trafficking in Georgia.
Wow.
We are number one for child sexual exploitation in Georgia. We are number one for child pornography in Georgia. So we beat out the bigger cities. And Georgia is now number 4 in the nation for human trafficking.
Number 4 in the nation.
In the nation.
Wow, that's an astounding number.
When people walk around with blinders on and think, well, that's not happening here, or it just happens during the Masters, or that kind of thing. People are being trafficked right now while you and I are talking. Wow. Right here in this city.
In this very city.
In this very city, wow. Right now, all over the city. And so to think that, oh, it doesn't happen here, or it can't happen to me, or it can't happen to my child, is a very dangerous state of mind to be in.
Wow.
It actually happened to my neighbor's child. I got a phone call. This was about a year and a half or so ago, and called me and said, I think my daughter's being groomed for trafficking. And sure enough, she was. And we were able to get, law enforcement involved, task force involved, wow. And intercept this. And it turned out to be a 38-year-old predator in another country who was talking to her and another girl on Washington Road. And we were able to intercept that. And, law enforcement does their job. We do the separate thing, and they do a great job here, just so you know. I mean, we have a great task force. I mean, our law enforcement, sheriff's department is fantastic. We also have GBI, FBI here. We have the Georgia Cyber Center here in Augusta, Georgia. So There's lots of great resources to take care of the bad guys.
Wow, Kimberly. Well, I'll tell you, thank you for sharing not only with me, but for our listeners and viewers out there in cyber world, that information. Yeah. Statistics can often bring it home to help everybody understand and believe that this is something that is real, and this is happening right here in our city and our neighborhoods, even though we may not think that it is. So thank you for sharing that. And I'll tell you, I have a colleague of mine whose family was targeted by that same type of unwanted behavior, but that they were luckily uh, to have access to some of the resources that we know we're going to get ready to talk about with you.
And another thing, dear, just real quickly, is that, when you have all these apps out there and you think, oh, this app is safe, that app is safe. I mean, people are being trafficked on the Bible app. Okay, so
Wow.
So
Wow.
when little kids get online, adults get online, they think, that, oh, this is a safe app, this is not a safe app. That they don't really know. And so none of them are safe. I'm just letting you know, nothing's safe online. So we have, I always tell people that if you don't need, especially with kids, if you don't need the internet, Bluetooth, anything like that, put your cell phone on airplane mode, because predators can't hack in to that. So, I mean, that's just that in itself protects you in your house, so it's knowing what to do.
Well, Kimberly, I'll tell you that's great information to know. And once again, thank you for sharing. So, Kimberly, let's say there's a family or parent out there today and they need help on how to deal with a situation similar to this. Like what resources are available that they can leverage to get assistance?
Well, depending on where they are in the process, like if something has just happened, if they've just seen something, you can call local law enforcement. But then there's also, I mean, like I said before, we have GBI, FBI, all of that is here. And but there's hotline numbers. So there's a national human trafficking hotline number. Georgia also has their own hotline number for human trafficking.
Wow.
Yeah, so the Georgia Coalition to Prevent Human Trafficking, and it's a fabulous hotline. Georgia has a task force for human trafficking as well, all the way up to the governor. So it's there are resources out there. If you go on our website, there, and we'll give that information in a little bit, but there's a segment in there, if you hit a tab called Be in the Know and go down to resources, we list all the local resources, all the national resources that you might need, their phone numbers. And if you actually click on the name, it links you to them. There's a hyperlink to them so that you can look those up. And then obviously, you can contact us as well if there is an emergency. But there's organizations like NCMEC, which is stands for National Center for Missing and Exploited Children. And they have just a plethora of information on their website. And that's on our website as well as a resource. So yeah, they bring all kinds of stuff to the table. And then what I'd like to do as well, I'm bringing in some packets of information so that parents, we would love for you to stop by Augusta Partnership for Children, because they do such great work in our community. They've helped out our participants so many times. I can't thank them enough. They do fabulous work. But I'm going to leave packets here, and they can make copies. You can make copies. But there's so much information in here: how to protect your kids online, how to talk to your kids by age group. Most people don't know how to talk to your child by age group. I think it actually starts at age 2.
Wow.
Yeah, age 2, how to talk to your child, because, they did a study before, and they used a baby. They set up a baby, and, that was old enough to sit up, okay, not fall over, but they put an actual magazine, a physical magazine, in front of the child. And as soon as they looked at the magazine, they started doing this. They expected the picture to move. And I'm like, you got like a 9-10-month-old baby who's already conditioned.
Just a digital age
baby.
Wow.
To condition.
Wow.
So things pop up, things, come to it. So this is just full of information, lots and lots of resources, so that you can, it also gives you like scenarios. Like if someone approaches your child, like the help trick, oh, I need assistance, can you help me? What you teach your child, this is how you respond to this. Okay, so that they don't get trapped. I always tell parents as well, teach your children how to have a temper tantrum at home. And they always say, well, they already know how to do that. And I'm like, yes, but this needs to be intentional.
Wow.
It needs to be intentional, because I see this all the time. Mom shopping, there's a rack of clothing. There's a 3-year-old holding on to mom's leg, you know, and all it would take is 2 seconds. Mom's looking at the rack, somebody come up behind them, put their hand like this over their mouth, they're gone.
Just like that.
Just like that.
Wow.
Okay. And so,
Wow.
and that's generally not how trafficking goes, but I'm just protecting you, just even from kidnapping, that kind of thing. So that, you know, teach your children, yell, scream, bite, throw their body weight to the ground on purpose. That if that ever happened, and the predator might get away, but your child is safe.
Still safe. Wow.
You still have your kid, you know. And another thing is to, you know, also tell parents, please, please, please know your child's passwords. When your child goes missing, you know, the first thing the FBI is going to ask you is, what are their passwords, their social media accounts, what are their passwords? Most parents don't know. And when you're too busy trying just to be your child's friend instead of a parent, you see it all happen all the time. You go to a restaurant. If there's a baby, they have a phone, a tablet, something in front of them, because that's the babysitter, right? And that's where predators are. So they're already conditioned to look to that.
So they look for the distractions, the predators.
Absolutely.
They see that distraction and they figure out a way to exploit it.
The vulnerable.
Wow.
And they start, here's what happens, Derek, is they start wide. Okay. So let's say if somebody's a predator and I'm a 5-year-old or a 10-year-old, doesn't really matter, right? The age group. But they'll start wide to say, hey, you know, do you live where it's hot? Is it hot where you live? Is it cold where you live? And you, oh, no, I'm in Georgia. Oh, really? Are you near Atlanta? So they start, you know, no, I'm in Augusta. Oh, and the predator's on the other end typing in, going, Atlanta, Augusta. What's in Augusta? Oh, do you live near, you know, Lady A Theater? Right. So they narrow it in until, because you're having a conversation. You think you're having a conversation with a friend who is your age. Wow. So it's no big deal when you meet new friends, you know. It's like, and with the social media these days, it's all about likes. It's all about followers. It's, you know, and so they're like, if somebody connects with them, it's like, oh, somebody's interested in me. And it's a false relationship, right? But that's how you get lured in, and then they build trust. They take their time. It's not like, you know, there's so much false information out there. You know, people call me all the time. I saw a white van. Well, it might be a caterer, you know. Okay. You know, like, was there anything suspicious about it? You know, but the thing is that they take their time, and so they develop friendship and relationships, and then they flip the switch. You know, and I can assure you that anybody who is out there who is wanting to meet your child, the only reason they want to meet your child is to sexually abuse your child. And Shared Hope International has this amazing picture, and it literally shows a face of a child, and it's unzipped, and it's a man underneath, and it says, you know, meet Emily, meaning the guy who's pretending to be the child. Meet Emily.
Wow.
Emily and your 13-year-old daughter just made plans to meet in the park. Because they think they're talking to the same age.
Wow.
You know, that kind of thing. So it's scary.
That's something, and I'll tell you that these predators, they definitely have this thing of theirs figured out. So thank you for sharing that information. And I just want to be clear and be certain, this packet, you're going to leave this packet here.
Yes, I'm going to leave this whole packet here. I have you know, lots of copies here that I'm going to leave, because I would love for people just to come down and check out Augusta Partnership for Children, because they are just amazing. And while they're here, I'm going to leave some business cards. I've got, you know, bracelets as well. So that way, come in the door, get some information, find out more about what they do as well, because they're fantastic for our community.
Okay, wow, awesome. So listeners, viewers, and parents, again, if you have questions about this, you can come down to the Augusta Partnership for Children Incorporated building, and there's going to be pamphlets left behind by Miss Kimberly that will help you answer questions, build family techniques to help not happen to you. So Kim,
yes,
though those have been some amazing stories and some amazing information that you shared with us, and thank you for sharing that. So I have another question for you, Kimberly.
Okay.
What are your future goals for GLM2? And in particular, are there any upcoming projects or activities that you have going on that you're particularly excited about?
Well, the future plans are we are going to eventually be building on horse farms.
Oh,
And
wow.
so we are looking for property, that kind of thing right now. We always generally do a fundraiser every year called the Courage to Rise Fun Run. That generally happens in the fall. But we're also out there supporting, other organizations as well, and we have community partners, and we can't do it by ourselves. So we have all kinds of community partners, and but people can contact us if they want to have a volunteer opportunity or anything like that. They're more than welcome to come on board.
Okay. So, Kimberly, before we go, for our listeners and viewers out there who are moved by your mission and want to contribute, what are some ways they can get involved with GLM2? And are there volunteer opportunities? And if they want to get in contact directly with your organization, how could they do that?
Well, they can contact us. Do you have our information? We can put that on the screen because that's the best way to contact us is generally either by our website, which is glm2.life. Also, we have they can call us at 762-233-2371. And we can also, if people are wanting to have us educate or anything like that, we are happy to come out and talk to community forums. We talk to churches, youth groups, Girl Scouts, Boy Scouts, anything like that, because I'm always happy to educate people. Always happy to educate people because the more they're in the know, the more they can protect their kids. And but yeah, like I said, with our information, if you contact us, that's also a way to donate or that kind of thing as well. But we're always looking for volunteers in different aspects of things, right? And then we just keep moving forward, and then we also grab our volunteers and sometimes come out and help other organizations as well. Because again, community partnerships are huge, right? It's not just about what are you going to give me. It's also then what can I do for you? Absolutely. Absolutely.
So to be clear, there are opportunities for other community organizations to invite you out.
Absolutely.
And just have information sharing opportunities for the rest of the community that may need to get some of this information in their hands.
Absolutely. Wow. Always happy to help. Always happy to help. Yeah.
So Kimberly, I got a question for you. You told us a lot about how who you are was the driving force into doing what you do. But let me ask, in the early infancy stages of GLM2, what challenges did you face, and how did you overcome some of those challenges?
Challenges, financial challenges are always, I think, the biggest challenge for any 501c3. And then also being able to, one of our biggest issues is always housing. Because of what the women have been through, they may have criminal backgrounds, they may have, those kinds of things. And that prevents us a lot of times with housing issues. So, we've worked with, some people, some realtors who have been great with us, which has been, but that was the original challenge, But, the other thing is that when we have, when people have gone through this kind of trauma, right? So you're dealing with complex compound trauma, which is multiple abuses, multiple abusers, multiple times. And in that basically your brain shuts down your communication skills while blowing up the right side, which is your creative side. And one story, may I share a story with you? Like a transformation story? Because although I see things you can't unsee, we also get to see life transformation, which that's the beautiful part. And so, we had a young boy who, there was so much abuse, like just so much abuse. Body language was always like this, never making eye contact, horrible in school. Just his hand-eye coordination was just not there.
Oh,
And
wow.
so, like on one of the birthdays, we took him to play putt-putt golf,
Mhm.
right? And so I showed him how to hold the putter. And the next hole, his hands were like this again. Or the next shot, rather, not even the next hole. So the memory to be able to connect hand and eye, what wasn't there. And so, so it took a long while, obviously, to play golf that way. But what we found out, because again, doing creative stuff, we also do equine therapy, animal therapy. We have a lot of community partners in doing this. And I found out that he liked music. And so he wanted to play the piano. So we got him a little keyboard and put the notes on the keys, all of that. And and I found this wonderful piano teacher who also does neurofeedback therapy. And she was more interested in creating new neural pathways than just how to play Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star. Right? So he would sit down at the piano and his hands would be like this. And she would take them and flip them over and say, finger 1, finger 3, finger 5.
Wow.
Right? So you start creating the new neural pathways, which separate you from the memories of the abuse. Okay? It starts to heal the brain. The creative side starts to heal the brain. Once that creative side starts to heal, that left side of the brain, which holds communication skills, starts to light up, and then hemispheres start to reconnect. Okay? But when you can't talk about something, when this is happening in your brain, and you don't know why you can't talk about something, right? Nobody explains that to you. It's called trauma.
You can't talk, but you just don't know why you're not able to.
Not about this specific stuff.
Correct.
Right? It'd be like me chopping your wrist off and saying, hand me your water. You can't. There's no connection. So when you start to heal the right side of the brain, the left side of the brain starts to, you're talking about several years that this can take place, right? It's not just like, oh, I drew a picture and I'm better. Right? That's not how it works.
Correct.
Okay. But after a year of, this child taking these piano lessons, all the next thing we know, he's playing recitals. He's playing, on baby grand pianos at a church, and people singing hymns along with his playing, that kind of thing. And so the next year I asked him, I said, what would you like to do for your birthday? And he said, Miss Kim, I'm happy. I don't want anything. Now, I don't know too many children who say that.
Wow.
Right? I don't want anything. Right? I don't know any child that doesn't go, I want that. I want that. Commercial comes on. I want that. I want that. So anyway, I said, well, let's go do an experience, birthday. We went back and played putt-putt golf, and I showed him how to hold the putter one time. And he did it. I'll try not to cry. He did it the rest of the time. He beat all of us. He made all at once.
Wow.
But
Amazing.
the beautiful thing is now he jumps in my car and is like, hey, Miss Kim, how was your day? He's excelling in school. He's getting to be a kid instead of living under all the trauma and fear and all of that. And that's what we get to see. We get to see life transformation.
Wow.
We get to see moms who had nothing, excel in work. And so, getting college degrees, just thriving. It's a beautiful thing to see. So anyway, but I mean, it's, and being here today has been an amazing experience. And again, I thank you. And I thank you for all that you do, right? For your organization, which is fabulous. What a great cause that you have. And again, just a huge shout out to Augusta Partnership for Children, because they are amazing. And I'm pretty sure they have a gala happening like tomorrow. Yeah. So you can still get in on that. You can still donate to them as well. So don't forget about that.
Absolutely. And that's a great point that you made, Kimberly. Speaking of that gala, I'm still in search of 1 or 2 volunteers that will be willing to come down with me and help me sort of manage the things that are going down for that gala. It's for a great cause and it's for a great organization.
Yes.
So, Kimberly, I want to thank you for your time. I want to thank you for your determination and your drive for doing what you do. And I appreciate your human experiences because they led you to what you're doing to help improve other people's human experiences today. And that is an amazing thing to do.
Thank you.
So this has been another episode of Parent Cafe, brought to you by the Augusta Partnership for Children Incorporated, Family Connection. I've been your host, Derek Griffin. This has been our amazing presenter, Miss Kimberly Walton. And I would like to thank you all for taking a little bit of time out of your day to join us. Thank you and have a good day.